1 minute to go before the evening news right here on your nation station, DBS Radio. Compliments of the good folks at Caribbean Alliance. Pick up the phone, give them a call, the wonderful folks at Caribbean Alliance. And don't say I didn't tell you to do that. Seriously, like for real. You understand? Because don't forget, people, the hurricane season is coming up. You know the vibes already. All right, people. All right, 6 o'clock in the studios of DBS Radio, your nation station. It's time to bring you the evening news.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has expressed concerns over the slow process of the issuance of voter ID cards. In news from the region, wife of Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister reappointed Minister of Housing and Works. And internationally, airlines have cut around 13,000 flights worldwide in May due to rising jet fuel prices. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when we return.
DBS Radio on the go. www.dbcradio.net. Click the play button at the top and you're good to go with the nation station, DBS Radio.
DBS News.
Welcome back. In our lead story this evening, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has expressed concerns over the slow process of the issuance of voter ID cards. Mr. Skerrit told a press conference this morning that government will seek expert guidance from regional and international partners to assist with the ongoing voter confirmation process.
In respect to confirmation of voter registration and voter ID cards, the government has formally requested technical assistance from key international and regional partners to support the effective implementation of the country's most critical electoral reforms. The request to the Commonwealth Secretariat, the Association of American States, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, and the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, follows the passage of new election laws in March of 2025 and concerns over timely and effective implementation of two key reform initiatives which aimed at modernizing the electoral process. One, the confirmation of voter registration to ensure the accuracy and integrity of the voters list, and two, the introduction of voter identification cards to enhance verification procedures and to reduce any risk of electoral fraud. In terms of the confirmation process under the new Registration of Electors Act, the Election Office has received 16,573 applications from October 15th, 2025 to April 30th, 2026. 13,146 of those applications for confirmation were received between October 15th, 2025 and November 30th, 2025. The first 6 weeks of the 12-month confirmation period. Yet, by April 30th, 2026, 6.5 months later, only 6,592 or 40% of the applications for confirmation have been approved. This means that 9,981 voters who have applied for confirmation for their registration have not been confirmed. None of the confirmed registered voters have received their voter identification cards, and we understand that the Electoral Office will only commence the issuance of these ID cards in 6 to 8 weeks.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Parliamentary representative for the Roseau Central constituency, Melissa Popon-Skerrit, says investigations are ongoing into a fire that broke out in the early hours of this morning in the vicinity of Upper Lane, Great Marlborough Street and Kennedy Avenue. Following an assessment, it has been determined that 8 buildings were destroyed, several of which housed businesses. Mrs. Skerrit made the statement during a press conference this morning.
The fire today is believed to have started at the rear of a building, and it spread rapidly throughout all the surrounding buildings, affecting approximately 8 of them, including well-known establishments like Bobby's Bar, James Cuisine, and Family Chinese Restaurant, where the owners also reside. Several other businesses and offices were also impacted. On site, I also met Mr. Joshua Francis. His law chambers were severely affected. He occupied 2 floors of one building, and needless to say, I visited there myself, and there's not much left to salvage. This incident marks approximately the 5th fire in Roseau in recent time, and the second major one. As we know, the first one happened around Jolly's Pharmacy. And this has been extremely concerning to me. I know that investigations are currently underway. And at this stage, we cannot rule out any cause, including, electrical faults, but also such factors as arson as well. We must also acknowledge that in Roseau Central, following Hurricane Maria, some properties may have gone makeshift electrical repairs. Many people did their own electrical repairs. And so we have noticed that there are a lot of vulnerabilities in the wiring, and especially given that some of the oldest structures in Dominica are located right here in Roseau. So this is something that we are going to look into as well. This morning I was joined on site by the Mayor, Her Worship, Lucy Bell, and, we were just discussing the urgent need to work alongside DOMLEC and Electrical Division to assess the wiring. Specifically, there's so many abandoned buildings, and you don't know if there are live wires there that could cause unsafe connections.
Parliamentary representative for the Roseau Central constituency, Melissa Popon-Skerrit. Meantime, attorney Joshua Francis lost his office in this morning's fire. Francis says computers and documents were all compromised.
Having gone to bed very late, I noticed that my phone kept ringing. So at some point I paid attention, and I got a few WhatsApp messages indicating that my building, my offices were or have been compromised by a fire. So I immediately reacted and got ready and found myself in town. Well, I noticed that the entire block on Upper Lane, where my office is located, that is between Great Marlborough Street and Kennedy Avenue, were engulfed by fire. I took note that there were fire officers in my offices, and I noticed that part of the building was under fire. Well, I don't have a choice. At this point in time, I have not gotten an assessment of the damages that took place. Of course, my files would have been compromised. Those which were not destroyed by fire would have been destroyed by water, given the amount of water that the fire officers would have had to send on the building to contain the fire. So it's a matter of reconstructing the files. I would have lost something like 8 computers in the office. So, and other contents. At this hour, it's a fire, things happen. I'm trying to contain myself. And hopefully when everything quells, I will get an assessment of the damage that took place in the office.
Attorney Joshua Francis. Jerickson James, the owner of James Cuisine, has asked his clients to be patient, saying the business has been destroyed.
Well, I cannot tell you what happened because I actually don't know what happened, because we left there around 5:15, so yesterday afternoon, and then I got a call, as a matter of fact, it on my phone, 3:27 in the morning, telling me that my bar is on fire. So as to what happened, I cannot tell you. The only thing I can tell you now is what I'm looking at there, that is starting from scratch, and that is one of my headache. We may be there between the 2 buildings, we're there for around 10 years now. Because we rent one of the buildings and then we came to the other one. But as far as it goes, I am telling you straight, I don't know how I can start again. To my customers, I'll just tell all you, just keep the patience with me. I plan to restart, I plan to redo. As for when yet, I'm not sure. But for now, just bear with me for the time.
Owner of Jane's Cuisine, Jerickson James. In other news, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has announced that the government will provide a subsidy to offset the rising fuel taxes caused by the increasing global gas prices. Mr. Skerrit told a press conference earlier today that this measure will take effect by the end of May.
Global crude oil prices have surged over 30%, pushing local consumer prices to $17.98 per gallon for gasoline, an increase of 20.2%, and $20.53 per gallon for diesel as of May 7, 2026. In the United States of America, the gas price at the pump since the war has increased by 50%. To cushion the impact of rising fuel prices, government will be in a position to provide a subsidy of $1.50 to $2 per gallon through reduced fuel taxes by the end of this month, when the next cycle will come in, price review, that is end of May 2026, should the prices keep increasing. Clearly, it's something that we have no control over, imported inflation. This is the price, but clearly $20 is a lot of money. $20.53 is a lot of money. And we appreciate where the price was before the war started and where the price is currently. And this is being felt in every part of the world. As I said, in the United States, it's an oil-producing country. It is now has been increased by 50% since the war.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Meantime, Mr. Skerrit says despite the financial burden these subsidies impose on government revenue, the government will conduct monthly reviews of fuel prices.
While these subsidies at a cost of over $500,000 monthly will provide critical relief to households, bus operators, fishermen, and businesses, they also carry significant implications for government's revenue and expenditure performance. Every dollar of subsidy is revenue foregone. At a time when government expenditure is rising due to higher operating costs for schools, hospitals, public services, and ongoing recovery efforts following the April floods in the East and Northeast. With diesel prices up 48% since February, and given the global focus for crude oil prices in 2026, fuel subsidies represent a growing burden on the Treasury of Dominica that directly impacts government's ability to fund health, education, infrastructure, and disaster recovery. Government will continue to review fuel pricing monthly to balance consumer protection with responsible fiscal management. In the long term, Dominica's energy security depends on accelerating our transition to renewable energy.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. The Dominica Electricity Company, DOMLEC, has set a number of activities to commemorate its 2026 Health and Safety Month. The launch ceremony took place this morning at the company's conference center under the theme Never Be Too Busy to Act Safely. Brandon Henry, Health, Safety and Environment Officer, says this year's Health and Safety Month is focused on the general public, staff of DOMLEC, and primary schools.
There will be a health check at our Roseau, Fonkoli, and Portsmouth offices to ensure that our staff and customers, their health is monitored and controlled. There will be power talks on Mondays to inform the general public on some of the activities for the month. Wednesdays, smoothie and bush tea promotion. We also have a visit planned for the Grotto Home to help to beautify it and bring some barbecue and other goodies to our loved ones at the Grotto Home. This year, we continue with our blood drives, and we are expected to extend it to the Portsmouth offices to ensure that there are adequate blood at our blood bank to help support our emergency and medical needs. The school visits at the primary schools continue our electricity safety programs, education. There's a social plan for our staff to help to bring staff together. A health walk is also planned, and we also have a bigger loser competition, which is geared towards weight losing. There will be presentations on NCDs to help educate staff and help staff to better prepare and control and manage NCDs. Village sweeps to help identify hazards within our villages and to help to eliminate them. We also plan to cooperate and partner with some of our corporate businesses to help to further grow and promote health and safety within the workplace to ensure a better and safer Dominica.
Health, Safety and Environment Officer at Domlec, Brandon Henry. That's the national focus, regional and international developments up next.
DBS Radio on the go. www.dbcradio.net. Click the play button at the top and you're good to go with the nation station, DBS Radio.
DBS News.
In news from the region, wife of the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Maria Brown, has been reappointed Minister of Housing and Works. She, along with other candidates who won their seat at the recently held general elections, was sworn in on Tuesday. She assures citizens of continued major strides in both ministries.
The work had begun in 2023. And now that we're in 2026, we've completed a lot of our projects. But, of course, we've had many outstanding ones and many that are yet to commence. So I'm looking forward to that. We have $100 million that we'll soon have access to. So we're going to increase the pace of the road works.
Housing and Works Minister in Antigua and Barbuda, Maria Brown. And internationally, airlines have cut around 13,000 flights worldwide in May as rising jet fuel prices, driven by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, continue to impact the industry. New data also shows that nearly 2 million seats have been removed from scheduled flights this month.
Well, that 13,000 flights equates to around 2 million seats that have been cancelled. And as you say, aviation is one of those industries that's been most impacted by the conflict in the Middle East, as well as that initial disruption for flights going to that area. There's also been that huge spike in jet fuel prices. Jet fuel has more than doubled since the conflict began. And for lots of countries, the UK included, the Gulf is where they source the majority of their jet fuel, so that's inevitably had some consequences. And some airlines have already announced plans to cut their schedules. The German carrier Lufthansa has said that it intends to cut around 20,000 flights between now and the end of October. Others have said that they're looking at raising ticket prices as a result.
BBC's business reporter Esild Carr. That's news, the DBS Evening Sports Report. Up next with Gavin Richards.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Well, good evening. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Evening Sports Report. We're beginning with news that Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit expects the lights to be turned on at Windsor Park in the coming days, and the project could be handed over to government in the coming weeks. Well, all 4 lighting structures have been erected, and the Prime Minister says that the project will soon head into the testing phase. Mr. Skerrit says lights at Windsor Park will bring more activity to the stadium.
All of the light fixtures are up. In the next few days, they will go for the testing phase. And I believe that in a couple of weeks' time, 3 weeks' time maximum, I think everything should be completed. And then the project should be able to be handed over to the government, to the Sports Stadium Committee. But the crucial part, Curtis, is that the major infrastructural work is over. And we're now seeing light at the end of the tunnel, literally. So we look forward to that. Obviously, we've been talking to a a number of entities who like to have some night cricket in Dominica, day-night matches in Dominica, so we'll be getting back to them on that now that we have the lights in place. And so you will see more activities at the stadium. Dominica is a preferred venue for cricket. That's where you get the most support. That's where you have the highest gate receipt, not just in our population size. And people just love to come to Dominica for all kinds of things, you know, and sports is one of them. So we look forward to that. And so we're very, very excited. It took some time, longer than I wanted, but that's life. And we just have to move on and take note of where the shortcomings were. But we're now towards the end.
And that's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. President of the Dominica Cricket Association, Clement Masler, says the association is excited with the prospects that will be derived with the restoration of lights at Windsor Park. Masler says the move not only repositions Dominica as one of the premier international cricket venues in the Caribbean, but will also create opportunities for the hosting of local cricket matches at night.
It is something that I am glad to see. Once an investment is made into cricket, I'm certain that anybody who has the best interest of the sport will be elated. I am looking forward for greater opportunities for our players, bearing in mind that we'll be able to not only host and daytime games, but also nighttime games, and likewise our players would be able to be exposed to some of these conditions and that they have not been exposed to for a while. It is again, I want to say commendations to the contractors and the government of Dominica for bringing this one to fruition. I hope that all opportunities that are available for our local players will be offered to them. I am just hoping again that we as a nation would understand the importance of sports and the importance of cricket, to be exact, towards our national development, and really look towards great patronage whenever the games are hosted, and ensuring that Dominica remains a very attractive venue for cricket.
President of the Dominica Cricket Association, Clement Masler. Let's move to basketball news now. Captain of the police sports club, that's Daniel Ormond, feels that his club will eventually turn things around as they continue with their campaign in the DABA Premier League. But the police, who did not manage a win last season, have already started off the 2026 campaign with a heavy defeat against the Falcons. They'll be back in action again tonight when they challenge last year's Premier League finalists, the BAA Sharks. Ormond says it has been a challenge for the police in recent times, but he thinks they will improve.
The guys are optimistic. The scoreline of the last game didn't go in our favor. We were missing a couple of players. Hopefully we get them in tonight and we can give it all.
And like you said, tonight is going to be another big game, BAA Sharks and, last year finalists. What do you think will be keys to victory for the police tonight?
Well, we would need to control the tempo of the game because these guys are very quick and they jump a lot. So we need to control the tempo of the game and make it at our pace. Otherwise, they will run us off the court. What do you think has been some of the main challenges for the police in recent times, especially in basketball? Well, our main challenge has been basically the same thing for the past couple of years. If you observe in the games, we hardly have the same starting 11 for 2 or 3 games in the season. Due to work, some players are not able to make it to the games, and also for practice, it is very difficult for us to meet up practice as we would want to. But it has been a challenge, and we have in negotiations to see how we can get the team together to practice and to get everybody around for games. So hopefully we will get an improvement. This year we have a couple of players who might be coming in soon. So I am very optimistic for the season. I don't want to say anything out. We will see it on the court.
And that's Daniel Ormond, the captain of the Police Sports Club basketball team. The police will take on the BAA Sharks at 9 o'clock this evening. Meantime, in the Division 1, the defending DABA Division 1 champions, the Dr. Daru Prischler Sports Club Falcons, will be hoping to avoid their second straight defeat as the Division 1 league continues tonight. The defending champs went down in overtime to the Paybush Snipers on the weekend, where they will come up against the newcomers to the league, the Posse Pacers, tonight from 7 o'clock. And both games will be played in Marsac. Let's move to some cricket news as Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom has dismissed suggestions that key members of the West Indies team are being rested and not given the opportunity to play red ball cricket ahead of the upcoming series with Sri Lanka. Well, the Sri Lanka series is scheduled for June. Bascom, speaking on the Mason and Guest program last night, says suggestions that players are being rested are not accurate.
I think you mentioned international players being arrested and not playing 4-day. I think Shea Hope is the only person who has not featured so far. Alzari, I think, returned following the end of the first round. Shea Hope would be the only person who has not featured so far. And of course, Shea is a professional. We work with Shea to ensure that he will be ready for the international season. And remember that what we are looking at is ensuring that we have all our players for the start of the international home series, right? And Shea Hope has a huge role to play in that, and we have no doubts that he will have everything that he needs to be prepared, when play starts come June 3rd.
And that's Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom. Bascom, meantime, has clarified the appointment of former coach Otis Gibson as a bowling consultant, and says that Gibson will be working with the current bowling coach, Ravi Rampal.
Ravi's role, Ravi is the bowling coach who is with the team.
Right.
Right. So Ravi will go on tours. He will support camps and so on as well. But Otis's role is to support camps and to work with that next line of players. That support that we need for players who perhaps did not make the squad, or players who we've identified as having potential to play international cricket. And Otis's job would be to help us to sort of quantify where their ceiling is at and what work needs to go into them to get them to that level. Right, so he is providing that support that we need to ensure that we have greater depth in our fast bowling stock. So the two roles are not they are two separate roles. Let me put it.
Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom. The Jamaica Observer is reporting that the Jamaica Kingsmen are set to secure the services of the hard-hitting Andre Russell and Rovman Powell in the upcoming CPL draft. Well, Jamaica is making a return to the Caribbean Premier League, which gets underway in August. The selections were made possible by special draft privileges granted to the Kingsmen, allowing the new franchise to make the first 3 picks. Two-time T20 World Cup champion Andre Russell will leave the defending champions, the Trinbago Knight Riders, who he represented for the last 4 years, while Rovman Powell will join from the Barbados Royals, and he will also captain the Kingsmen. The Jamaica Observer is also reporting that the Kingsmen will miss out on signing opener Brandon King. It is being reported that the Barbados Royals intend on exercising their rights to retain Brandon King. Well, the CPL draft selections will be officially announced on the 15th of May, and we'll also have to wait to see where Dominica's very own Alec Athenaeus will land in the upcoming CPL. Last year, he featured for the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, and he also had a stint with the Barbados Royals. But as it stands, all the players will head back into the player draft, and we will have to see which team will select Alec Athenaeus. Let's move on with some more sports, as the National Bank of Dominica Sports Division Primary Schools girls football title will be on the line as the curtains come down on that competition tomorrow at the Benjamin's Park. The Sinico Primary School will take on the St. John's Primary School. Kickoff for that game is at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Meantime, the secondary schools under 14 netball title will also be decided tomorrow at the Benjamin's Park. Portsmouth Secondary School will be hoping that the home court advantage does the trick as they battle the Northeast Comprehensive. That final will get underway at 3:30. And we have some football tonight, just about 30 minutes time at the Jubla playing field. Of course, the three-time defending DFA Premier League champion, Central Cooperative Credit Union Jubla FC, will be looking to move to the top of the points table as the Premier League continues tonight. Of course, Jubla will be looking to join Surgical Southeast on 6 points. And Jubla tonight will be taking on Petro Caribbean Point Michelle. That game is carded for 7 o'clock at the Almond Park in Jubla. Remember, on the weekend, Jubla there secured a 5-0 win over Promex Harlem United. So that's where we'll come to the end of the DBS Evening Sports Report. More sporting highlights for you tomorrow morning. Of course, you can look out for Off the Field this evening. Comes up at 7 o'clock. Until then, I'm Gavin Richard saying good evening.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 6th day of May 2026. We begin with this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Death Announcements. We announce the death of Edison Sampson, age 84, of Maho. He died on Tuesday, the 28th of April, 2026. He was predeceased in death by his parents, Edward and Felicity Sampson. His children. He will be remembered by his children, Joan, Juliana, Wallace, Jeanette, and Lynn. His grandchildren, Natasha, Leon, Dwayne, Jasmine, Brian, Louis, Nathan, Cisco, and Shanice. His great-grandchildren, Henry, Imani, and Blake. His brothers, Julius and Francis. His sister, Augustine. His nephews and nieces, names too numerous to mention. Close friends, both in Dominica and the United Kingdom. Management, staff, and residents of the Maho Senior Citizens Home. The body of the late Edison Sampson of Maho can be viewed from 1:30 p.m. on Friday, the 22nd of May, at the St. Martin de Porres Chapel, Canefield. The funeral mass will take place at 2 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the Maho Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Gentle Rest Funeral Service, Inc. We announce the death of Glensworth Morris Nelson, better known as Bob, age 68, of St. Joseph. He died on Friday, the 13th of March, 2026. He was the father of gifters. He will also be remembered by his grandsons, Sabio and Sabion, his sisters, Yonica, Monica, Olive, and Petra, his uncle, Elijah, in Canada, his nieces, Lisa, Cheryl, Kira, Donette, Donis, and Charlotte, his nephews, Ninian, Seymour, and Khan, and also Ricardo. Grandnieces and grandnephews, Faith, Tyler, Kelisha, Lilani, Levi, Amaya, Josai, Nasir, Akil, and Amira. Daughter-in-law, Candice. Brothers-in-law, Thomas and Anthony. Adopted mother, Keturah Braid. Adopted siblings, Jeanette, Fred, and Eldridge. Cousins, to include Helen, Tita Sarah and family, Merle Sarah and family, Ambrose Sylvester and family, Alima, Alan, Eric, Nelford, Randy and family, the Nelson, Sarah, Xavier, and Charles families. Close friends, Angelo Joseph, Choppy and family, Salt, Felix Elise, Tessie and family, Vado and Gwenny, Vili Shillingford and family, Sims, Avril and Johanna, Juliet and Kathleen, Kendra and Tiny and Mr. Eliu Charles. Neighbors to include Diane Pierre and family, Gladys Joseph, Olive Augustine, Cassandra Riviere and family, Sandra Derrington, Westmoreland and Felix, the Honorable Parliamentary Representative Mr. Darren Lloyd, Father Joseph and members of the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Church, and many other friends and relatives too numerous to mention. The body of the late Glensworth Morris Nelson, better known as Bob of St. Joseph, can be viewed from 2 p.m. on Thursday, the 7th of May, at the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Church. The funeral mass will take place at 3 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Cemetery. The funeral arrangements entrusted to Gentle Rest Funeral Service, Inc.